How's it going?
Hey.
Obama, Obama,
Oh shit. We're gonna get some Obamas in the chat for a bit. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I just don't
Obama.
see how you think Polyev would be bad for the country.
I think that everything that he's done so far, right? Because he's been in politics for 20 years now. Um, and everything that he's done so far has been bad and detrimental to the working class in the country. I mean, if you're a rich person or a business owner or a landlord or something like that, then I could understand liking Pierre Polyev because I mean he's your guy. He's basically pushing for those people. But if you're a member of the
Well,
working class, then I don't see how
oh,
that
I
he's
can
good.
see how though,
How?
because climate agenda is just driving corporations out of this country. Why would you even bother setting up shop here with the rules and regulations? Why would you do that?
I mean, people are still doing it. I mean, corporations, at the end of the day, they have the profit motive. And so if the only thing that they're caring about is profit, then I guess I would much rather see, you know, corporations that are not the typical, status quo type of corporations. I would rather see ones that are worker owned, like cooperatives and stuff like that, where the
Oh my
workers are
God!
actually receiving the lion's share of the wealth that's generated through their labor, right?
Yeah, but you look at Carney's housing proposal. Do you think that's going to go to guys like you and I that work, or do you think that's going to go to big corporations?
What, the houses
These
themselves?
houses he wants to build. They
Yeah,
don't
like
have driveways,
that's
by the way. If you read his book, they don't have driveways.
yeah. The houses that they're building. Are they? Isn't it the government that's going to be the builder in that case?
No, no, they're looking for contractors,
Okay.
and their main contractor, you almost guaranteed, is going to be Brookfield because they've already put in. They're already working on tenders for it. They've sent letters to the government years ago already, pushing to sell these modular homes in making densifying our cities and
Well, yeah,
forcing
we need
people out
to
of the
do
country.
that. We need to densify the cities for
No, we
sure.
don't need to densify. We got the
Yeah.
largest landmass in like it's crazy how
How
big
much?
Canada
How
is.
much of that can we actually use, though?
Lots of it. Absolutely lots of
Oh,
it.
really? Oh, okay.
Oh, really? Yeah. Just because
How do you
you want to
figure?
focus on little towns. I mean, like little towns are all over the place, and what brought them there was resources. What brought them there was corporations wanting to improve our economy.
Well, no, the corporations, their only incentive is profit, right? Like they don't care about. That's why like Canada Post is so necessary, is because all of these smaller towns would not get service if it was up to the private industry because it's not profitable. Or if they did get service, it would be much more expensive than it is.
I, I don't know.
It's
Amazon services where I'm at, no problem. And I'm way out in the sticks, so
okay, but I'm not talking about just like in the country. Amazon also comes to me, and I'm in the middle of the country. But I'm talking about remote communities that would have no like it's not profitable for private businesses to operate in those areas, so they just don't. And the same thing with like telecom.
yeah. Well, opening up our forestry, opening up our mining, opening up our oil, providing better energy to the world will reduce
Our
their
our
global
oil production
environment.
has increased since
Bill
the year
C-69 says
2000.
no more oil, no more pipelines, no more
Okay.
expansion, and
But I
that's a bill
mean,
that
oil production has
are fighting
increased
against.
steadily though over the last at least the last few decades. Has it not?
Oh yeah, over the
True or
last few
false?
decades,
Okay.
sure, it's increased.
Yeah. Okay. So
But the thing is they put in Bill C-69, so it can't increase anymore. No pipelines, no freighters off the coast.
okay.
They make
I don't
it
know. That sounds
so
good to me.
hard, and I don't know. I think our energy is better used in other parts of the world where they're burning coal right now.
I think that we should nationalize the oil and gas industry because the oil that's in the ground right now doesn't belong to the country. It belongs to these corporations. I think it
Oh,
should be.
I agree on nationalizing it. I can agree on that.
Well, the
But
conservatives are
what I
never
can't,
ever going to do that. They're more interested in increasing foreign investment in companies, right? Line
yeah,
item
I know.
43. So,
Yeah, well, someone's got to do the work, and unfortunately, no one here.
Why can't it be Canadians?
Canadians don't want to invest in it.
What do you mean? Why
They
can't we
don't wanna
national? Why
invest
can't we just nationalize it and then, boom?
Because the banks won't give you a loan because of Carney and his
What do you mean?
environmental
It
agenda.
wouldn't. It would be the government doing it. It wouldn't be. We wouldn't. We wouldn't. Like it would be the government.
Or you mean like
setting that
running
up.
a
Like
crown corporation?
Like that's what nationalizing is. It would be nationalized.
The crown corporation. They tried that with Petro-Canada,
Okay.
and Petro-Canada is now privatized. So it
Which
was
is
nationalized.
Which is bad.
It was originally a
Things should be not. They should go the opposite way of privatization, right? Because now all of those profits that are being made by that company are going into the pockets of investors instead of into the pockets of the country, right? Into the public coffers. I think that any tax money that we're spending, if we're spending tax money, it should be going into endeavors which increase the amount of money that comes back into our public coffers, and not subsidizing private industry so that the profits are going into the pockets of investors, right? Because
they really want to get down deep. The country, we should be all treated like shareholders in a corporation and given shares into this country, and that's how it should be. And then we can vote on everything.
Okay,
No more
so
of
you're a
this
communist
government
too.
rules us. Never mind the government rules us. We rule us. We go to shareholder meetings, which is the same as a government meeting. We decide what happens. They can't turn around and spend money without the shareholders'
almost like
approval.
it's like almost like a dictatorship of the working people, right?
It's every person's a shareholder.
Yeah,
You
that would
wanna
be
become
that would be
immigrant,
like
you got to
a
buy a share.
that would be like a dictatorship
afford
of
a
the
share of
working
the
people,
country.
right?
Pretty much. And if you
Yeah.
can't afford a share, you don't come to this country. Period.
So you going on record saying that you want a dictatorship of the working people?
I wouldn't call it so much as a dictatorship. It's a private corporation. The country becomes a corporation, and the residents become the shareholders. I don't think that's a dictatorship. I think then you're calling General Motors a dictatorship, and the shareholders have no say, just General Motors
No,
does.
what I'm saying is like the people would be in control of the actual means of making things, right? Of doing things. So the people would be the ones in charge of, create of the means of production, so to speak.
Absolutely. Why shouldn't it be? That's how great nations are built.
Well, no, I 100% agree that that we should have communism, but because that's what you've just described.
No, communism, nobody has a say except for the guy at the top, and if you
No.
don't like his views, they shoot you. Yeah, it's been proven.
No, that's not communism. That's not what that is. You actually just described it. You described, anyways, the strain of socialism or communism that I'm a member of, right? Where the working people, the ones that actually create the wealth in this country, are the ones that control the means of production, so to speak, like the factories. Everything is controlled by the working people instead of the state, right? That's communism.
Oh no, the manufacturing can be done by whoever. It's the natural resources and the materials. To
Well,
build
it's
it.
done by the manufacturing is done by the working people, right? Like it always has been. Working people are what creates all wealth in this country. It's
but
it's
without-
not the fat
without a
cats in their
capitalist market,
suits.
you have no innovation. There's no reason to innovate.
That's not true. That's not true. There's been plenty of innovation without capitalism, for sure. Right? In the USSR, they were in space before the US. They didn't make it to the moon first, but
Neither of them did.
but
that's
but
just
there
my
definitely was innovation, right? Like that's not in Cuba they have doctors that are so good that they export them around the world, right? There's definitely some innovation going on there. Their medicine prices are far below what's going on in the US. 40,000 people a year are
That's because
unalived.
of patents.
For
That's all because of patents.
yeah,
If we
capitalism.
got rid of the patent
Because
system altogether,
Yeah, because
then
because capitalism's the
Well,
problem, right?
no, that's protectionism. That's not capitalism.
No, that's capitalism, right? That's what capitalism leads to. People have this idealistic version of capitalism in their brain, where like, oh, of course it's gonna work. You have competition, yada yada yada. But that's not how it works, right? Like there's mergers and acquisitions, and then it all turns into a monopoly in the end.
Well, that's what we got right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
We
there's
got an
actually
oligarchy monopoly.
yeah, and there's actually only one leader in our political system that has proposed antitrust legislation that would break up monopolies. There's only one person that has actually proposed this. Do you know who that is?
No.
Yeah. It's this man right here. Look at that. Majestic.
Oh, he's
man.
a sellout. Sellout Singh? Oh, yeah.
Why is he a sellout?
Why is he a sellout? Because
Can you explain?
yeah, because he could have held the government accountable when Canada Post went on strike. He could have held the government of Canada when the ILWU went on strike. He could have held Canada accountable when CN went on strike. And what did he do? He didn't turn around and bring down the government and say, if you don't deal with these people, sorry for my bad word, if you don't deal with these people, and then I'm going to bring
what
down the house.
what did Jugmeat do when those things happened though? Did he criticize the government?
Oh, criticizing does nothing when he had the power to shut him down.
So what happened in the 2 years before that? Like legislatively, what did the NDP do? Are you taking a bath right now, by the way?
No, I'm smoking.
It sounds like
That's my fish tank.
Okay, I was like, it sounds like you're in water.
Yeah, that's my fishes.
Okay, no problem. So what happened legislatively with the NDP in the 2 years previous to that, right? Do you like the NDP accomplished more for Canadians in the 2 years leading up to now than any political party has in probably 3 decades or more. And that's my hill. I will unalive on that hill. They've accomplished more for Canadians in those 2 years by entering into a supply and confidence agreement. Conservatives call it a coalition because they don't understand how politics works. But a supply and confidence agreement was met. They said, we will have confidence in the government because you're a minority government. We want this supply. We want this legislative framework to exist. And if you don't, then we're going to vote non-confidence. And what happened? They got us pharmacare, dental care, child care. At the same time, they also accomplished passing
that was all for a
anti-scab legislation.
very minimal amount of people. Most
Is
good
it not?
employers
Is it not rolling
have all
out?
that anyways.
Is it not rolling out for more people in the summer?
I don't know who's even getting it because I get nothing from the government. They don't give me a stick.
So in the summer, there's three more phases of people that are being added to the program, and it's going to be for anybody who is in a household that makes $90,000 or less a year household income, which the median household income in Canada, median meaning like the exact middle, is $82,000 a year. So more than half of the country is going to qualify for these programs in the summer.
Yeah, but find dentists that are willing to do it. Otherwise, going to the dentist is then going to the dentist is soon going to turn into like going to an emergency. You'll wait in line and a line forever, and you'll die in there.
So who's in charge of healthcare? Which level of government is in charge of healthcare?
It's the provincial government, but that still doesn't matter.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the federal government, right?
As soon as you put lots of pressure on a system.
Which, are you in Ontario?
Nope.
Oh, I know where you're from.
I'm as far west as it gets.
Oh, you're in BC.
Yeah, right on the coast of Vancouver Island.
Right on the tip. Here in Ontario, we have a conservative government. We don't have a liberal government, right? We have a conservative government, which has chronically underfunded public health care, public education, right? We are $21 billion short from healthcare, even though the federal government has given transfers to the province in order to specifically pay for healthcare. We're still short, right? And in education, $2 billion. It's because the provincial conservative government has a vested interest in starving the public system to erode public trust in those systems so that they can come up with a solution, which is privatized healthcare, which is only going to cost us more. The US spends much more on healthcare per person than we do here in Canada, and we have similar outcomes. It's only in a bid to line the pockets of investors. That's it. Look at what they're doing with the spa in downtown Toronto. Billions of taxpayer dollars are being used to subsidize this private spa in downtown Toronto at the cost of $400 per person in Ontario. $400 per person in Ontario to subsidize a private spa, which we're not going to get access to unless we pay more to go there, right? For what? Where's the profits going from that? It's going into the pockets of investors. It's not going back into the public coffers. If they were to do that and invest into, public infrastructure or public, like a public crown corporation, but provincially, then yeah, that's good, because then the profits and that are coming back into the public coffers instead of being lining the pockets of investors. That's a good thing. And I mean, that's a good criticism of the Liberals as well too in Ontario. The Liberals on their way out in 2018 or 2017, whenever it was, the 6 months before they ended up losing the election to Doug Ford and his Conservatives, they sold off 60% of Hydro One. So now we had a crown corporation whose profits were going back into the public coffers, which has now been mostly sold off, and so now profits are going into the pockets of investors.
Yeah, I gotta get off your live here.
Hey, no, that's no problem. I do appreciate you coming up. I do like to discussing this stuff, and I mean, a lot of times people bring up things that I haven't thought of, and it gives me an opportunity to think of them. So, yeah. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks for having me on your live.
Hey, no problem.
All right. Bye.
Hey, he was a nice guy.